So, I have to be honest with you. When I first looked at this stack of research for today's deep dive, I thought someone had made a massive mistake. I really thought we had shuffled two completely different decks of cards together.
Yeah, it definitely looks a bit disjointed at first glance, doesn't it?
Disjointed is putting it mildly. On the left side of the desk, we have these incredibly dense, dry academic papers about 19th century piano sonatas and the evolutionary biology of birdsong.
Right.
And then sitting right on top of that, we have what looks like dating strategies, notes on something called a soft crab, and practical advice on how to slide into DMs without being a creep.
It feels like we're trying to mix oil and
Water. Yeah.
I completely get that, but it feels that way because we tend to compartmentalize attraction.
Okay, how so?
Well, we think of it as either this high-minded, magical, biological lightning strike, the love at first sight thing, or we think of it as this dirty, tactical game of lines and manipulation. But the mission of this deep dive is to show how those things actually connect.
Right, so it's either a Disney movie or a weird Reddit thread.
Exactly. But the reality and what all these sources are arguing when you lay them out side by side is that there are invisible forces, invisible strings being pulled long before you even open your mouth to use a pickup line. We want to connect the dots between biological arousal, like literally what your blood pressure is doing, and the psychology of building rapport.
So we're going from the internal, what's happening inside your veins, to the external, what you're actually texting someone on a Tuesday night.
That's the roadmap. And honestly, some of the biology stuff we're going to look at here is going to make you second guess every date you've ever been on.
Oh, certainly made me rethink my Spotify playlist.
Oh, yeah.
So let's start there. Let's start with the music. We have this study by Marin et al. From 2017. And the headline finding is, frankly, it sounds like a hack. It sounds like something a hypnotist would sell you.
It really does sound too good to be true. The core finding is that listening to music can physically alter how attractive you find opposite sex faces.
But hold on. We're not talking about listening to a sexy R&B song that sets a mood right. Because that seems obvious. If I play Marvin Gaye, yeah, the vibe changes.
No, and that's what makes the methodology of this study so important. If you play a song with romantic lyrics, you're priming the brain with language. You're explicitly telling the person to think about romance.
Okay.
These researchers didn't want that. They wanted to test the raw biological response. So they used 19th century piano solos.
Which, unless you're a serious history buff, probably doesn't have a lot of specific cultural baggage for you. It's just sound.
Right, it's abstract. And they divided the music into high arousing and low arousing. Now, I should clarify arousing here because in a clinical setting, it doesn't mean sexual arousal initially.
Right, it's physiological.
Exactly. Arousal refers to the physiological state, so heart rate, blood pressure alertness, skin conductivity. Complex, intense music spikes those metrics.
And the result?
When people listen to the complex, high arousal music, they rated the faces they were shown as significantly more attractive. They were just more willing to date them.
Okay, I really need to understand the mechanism here. Because this sounds like the brain is just getting confused. It's really that simple. Like, my heart is beating fast, therefore I must be in love.
That is literally the theory. It's called the misattribution of arousal.
Misattribution, so the brain is making a mistake.
It's a hard word. Think about it. Your brain is a fantastic processing machine, but it's not always great at sourcing its inputs. Your heart starts racing because of the complex musical patterns, the anticipation, the crescendos, of the surprise of a chord change.
Right.
When you look up and see a person, your brain goes, wow, my heart is pounding, my palms are sweaty, and this person is right here. So logic dictates I must be attracted to them.
Transfers the excitement from the ears to the eyes. That's wild.
It's a complete transfer of excitation. And we see this in other contexts too. Like there's the famous shaky bridge study. People who walked across a dangerous swaying suspension bridge were much more likely to find the researcher at the end of the bridge attractive than people who walked on a safe, sturdy bridge. Fear music exercise, they all prime the pump.
It means you can essentially borrow excitement from the environment and credit it to your date. But here's the kicker in the Marin data that really stood out to me. This didn't work for everyone, did it?
No, it didn't. And this is where it gets into evolutionary psychology. The effect was highly significant for women rating men, but for men rating women, it was statistically insignificant.
Which feels totally unfair. Why the difference? Is there an actual biological reason for that split?
The researchers point back to Darwin and the theory of sexual selection. In the animal kingdom, and let's be honest, we are just fancy animals with iPhones. Males are typically the ones performing courtship displays to attract females.
The peacock spreading its tail.
Or the songbird singing the most complex tune.
Or the guy playing Wonderwall at a college party.
Well, maybe not Wonderwall, because the complexity really matters. We have to look at the Charlton study from 2014 to understand why this is gendered.
Oh, right, the composer study.
Yes. They found that women, specifically when they were in the fertile phase of their menstrual cycle, showed a distinct preference for composers of more complex music as short-term partners.
So ovulation changes your taste in music, or rather, your taste in musicians.
It changes what you're scanning for. The evolutionary argument is that musical complexity is a proxy for cognitive capacity. If a male can create or perform highly complex, intricate patterns, it signals a high-functioning brain.
Right, it shows motor skills, memory, creativity, discipline.
It's a fitness signal. It's basically saying, I have good genes because I can handle this difficult cognitive task without messing up.
So it's not just, oh, this sounds nice.
No. Subconsciously, the female brain is interpreting that complex piano solo as a resume for good genetic material. It's saying this organism is high quality.
That creates a really fascinating picture of the rock star effect. We usually think of rock stars getting the girls because of the fame or the money or the leather jackets, but you're saying it might be much more primal. It's the complexity of the signal they're putting out.
Fame definitely helps, sure. But the Darky et al. Study from 2022 backs this up on a purely physiological level. They hooked people up and played Beethoven's Symphony of Fate, which is fast, complex, and demanding. Right, exactly. And then they played the Moonlight Sonata, which is slow, simple, and melodic. The fast stuff spiked heart rates and blood pressure. It physically primed the body for interaction.
And the slow stuff.
It sedated them. It decreased heart rate and blood pressure.
So if you're on a date and you want to trigger that misattribution of arousal, maybe skip the ambient chill-out tracks.
If you want them to feel a spark, yes. You want energy, you want complexity, you want their heart doing a little bit of work.
Okay, so we set the stage. The music is complex, the heart rates are up, the biological priming is happening. But eventually the song ends. You have to actually talk to the person.
Yeah.
You can't just hum Beethoven at them over dinner.
Please do not do that. That's where the misattribution fades and rapport has to be.
Which brings us to some really interesting notes here from Tony Robbins and the Mike Mandel hypnosis materials. And I know whenever I see hypnosis in the source stack, I get a little skeptical. It sounds a bit woo-woo, but they aren't talking about swinging a pocket watch, are they?
No, they're talking about the mechanics of connection. It's not magic, it's entrainment. Rapport is basically the feeling that this person is like me, and you can actually hack that feeling by physically syncing up with them.
This is the matching and mirroring stuff we've heard about for years, right? They lean forward, you lean forward.
It's the basics, yes.
Yeah.
But the sources go much deeper than just playing copycat. If you just mimic someone, it can feel super creepy. It has to be subtle. It's about matching the energy.
Oh, so like pacing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If they are speaking quickly and excitedly and you are slow and monotone, you are breaking rapport.
You're on completely different frequencies.
Literally. And there's a specific signal mentioned in the source that I think is so easy to miss, but so important. The eyebrow flash.
Okay, I actually tried this in the mirror after reading the notes. It's really, really fast.
It has to be. It's a micro gesture. It takes about 1/6 of a second. But it's a universal primate signal. When monkeys or humans see a member of their own tribe or someone they like, they involuntarily flash their eyebrows up.
It's like a friend or foe signal.
It's a weapon drop. It signals total openness. If you walk up to someone and your face is dead, still their lizard brain goes, stranger danger.
Right.
If you give that tiny eyebrow flash it, you're hacking their system to say, I'm safe, I'm familiar.
So you flash the eyebrows, you match their energy, now you're in a conversation. And this is where the advice in the deep dive actually made me stop and reread, because it directly contradicts something I was taught in every communication class I've ever taken.
Let me guess, active listening.
Yes. We are always taught that to show your listening, you should paraphrase, the classic therapist move. So what I'm hearing is, and then you summarize what they said in your own words.
And the sources stopped doing that immediately.
But why? I always thought that was the gold standard. Doesn't it show I processed the information?
It shows you processed it, but it also shows you translated it. The argument here is that words are nominalization.
Suitcase words.
Right. Think of a word like sadness or excitement or overwhelmed. Those aren't just dictionary definitions, they are containers. They contain a very specific subjective cocktail of feelings and memories for that specific person.
So when I say stress, I mean one thing. When you say stress, you might mean something totally different based on your life.
Exactly. So imagine you tell me I'm feeling really overwhelmed at work, and I say, oh, I get it. You're stressed out.
I mean, I think close enough, right?
Not to the subconscious. Your conscious brain says close enough, but your subconscious goes, no, that's not it. I said overwhelmed. You don't get it.
Wow.
It creates a subtle friction. You've replaced their reality with your interpretation of it. You've stepped on their meaning.
That's a really subtle distinction, but it makes so much sense. It's about preserving their container.
If you want to build deep rapport, you have to be an echo, not an interpreter. If they say overwhelmed, you use the word overwhelmed. You say it sounds like you're feeling overwhelmed.
That seems like it would feel repetitive to say.
It seems repetitive to the conscious mind, but to the subconscious, it feels like a massive relief. It feels like finally someone who speaks my language.
It's about being on the exact same wavelength, which actually connects perfectly to the Perry et al. Study we have here on cadence entrainment.
Right, the walking study?
Yeah, they found that when people walk to music, they adjust their stride to the beat. But more importantly, in social groups, we unconsciously sync our walking speed with the people we like.
It's a physical manifestation of that same verbal syncing. If you're walking with a date and you're constantly 3 steps ahead or lagging behind you, are physically signaling a lack of rapport.
It's literally being out of step.
And that physical dissonance creates emotional dissonance. So you have to check your pace, check your vocabulary. Are you in sync? Are you echoing them, or are you trying to edit them?
Okay, so we're syncing our bodies, we're echoing their specific suitcase words. But what is the actual goal here? Because we have this source from Alvaro de Menard on dating strategy, and he argues that most people have the fundamental goal entirely wrong.
He calls it the shift from a battle to a team sport.
This really resonated with me. I think a lot of people feel like a date is a performance review, or like a heist. I need to get in there, say the right lines, and steal the prize.
It's extremely adversarial. You're trying to win the person. Menard argues that this is just a recipe for anxiety and failure. If you view it as a team sport, the goal isn't to conquer. The goal is to find a teammate.
Cooperation versus conquest.
Right. And if you are looking for a teammate, you don't want just anyone. You want someone who actually fits the role. Which brings us to the handcuff rule.
Now we need to clarify this immediately because handcuff rule sounds like we're back to the arousal section.
It's a metaphor. Though the example he uses is pretty literal, the core idea is to be polarizing.
Polarizing. Usually dating advice is cast a wide net. Make your profile as appealing as possible to the absolute most people.
And that is terrible advice. If you appeal to everyone, you appeal to no one deeply. You're beige. You're elevator music.
Low arousal.
Exactly. The handcuff rule says wear your weirdness on your sleeve. The example in the source is putting a photo of handcuffs on a dating profile, if that is something you are into.
It's a filter.
It's a high-efficiency filter. Yes, 90% of people might see that and swipe left. They might think it's weird. But the 10% who are into it, they are going to stop scrolling immediately.
You're repelling the wrong people to attract the right people.
And repelling the wrong people is actually way more important. It saves you time. It saves you bad dates. It saves you from trying to pretend to be someone you aren't.
That requires a lot of confidence, though. It requires what the source calls intentionality, being totally honest about what you want. He also mentions fitness as the highest ROI investment because it signals discipline, right?
Yes, it signals vitality. And intentionality is key, especially when we look at his observation about the divorce between sex and pleasure.
Yeah, this was a bit of a grim read, honestly. The source argues that in modern casual dating, people aren't actually seeking enjoyment, they are seeking validation.
They just want to be wanted. It's an ego feed. The question, can I get this person to sleep with me, becomes a validation of self-worth rather than a shared, pleasurable experience.
And the advice is to pivot back to the physical. Prioritize sexual compatibility and mutual pleasure. If you approach it as, hey, we are both here to have a good time, it takes all the pressure off. It stops being a test of your worthiness.
It goes right back to the team sport mindset. We are teammates trying to achieve a specific outcome, whether that's a long-term relationship or just a really great night.
So mindset shifted. We're teammates. We are intentionally polarizing. But let's get to the boots on the ground tactic. We're standing at the bar, we're in the DMs. How do we actually flirt? We have some really specific tactics here from Matthew Hussey.
Hussey is great because he bridges that gap between the internal mindset and the external action. And he starts with a concept that I think absolutely everyone has been guilty of at some point, unhatched eggs.
Oh, I am definitely guilty of this. This is when you have a crush on someone, you never actually make a move.
Because the fantasy is safe. As long as the egg is unhatched, it could be a dragon. It could be the love of your life. It could be perfect.
But if you crack it open.
It might be empty, they might reject you, they might be completely boring. But Hussey's point is you are wasting your life nursing empty shells. Crack the DNA.
Find out. Get the rejection or get the date. Stop living in the maybe.
So how do you actually crack it? He gives us a few techniques. My favorite is closing down space.
This is the push-pull dynamic, right?
It's about managing your presence. Most people, when they like someone, they hover. They plant themselves next to the person and just stay there.
They completely suffocate the spark.
Right. Closing down space means you engage, you come in close, maybe you touch their arm, you break that touch barrier, but then you pull away. You literally leave the conversation. You go talk to your friend across the room.
You give them the gift of missing you.
Exactly. You create a vacuum. If you are always there, they never have to wonder about you. By pulling away, you let them observe you from a distance. You become a moving target. It signals independence.
And when you are talking to them, you need to be building what the source calls unique pairings. This is about contrast, right?
Humans are incredibly bored by predictability. If you look like a gym bro and all you talk about is protein shakes, you are one-dimensional.
You're a caricature.
But if you look like a gym bro and you suddenly mention your passion for 19th century piano sonatas,
Suddenly you're interested.
you have depth. The source uses the example of someone with dexterous skills like spinning a spoon or a coin, but who is also highly athletic. It's about showing that you contain multitudes.
And speaking of showing personality, we have to talk about the soft crab.
The soft crab.
This sounds like a weird dance move, but it's actually a brilliant blueprint for an inside joke.
It's a masterclass in creating intimacy out of thin air. The example is, you're at a buffet. You turn to your date and say with total mock seriousness, I can't believe they don't have soft crab.
Even if you hate crab. Even if it makes absolutely no sense.
Especially if it makes no sense. It's absurd. And because it's absurd, it belongs only to the two of you.
It completely separates you from the crowd. Everyone else is just eating food. You two are the soft crab coalition.
And the beauty is it gives you a callback. 2 days later, you can text them a picture of a seafood restaurant and say, do you think they have it?
And boom, you're right back in rapport.
Yeah.
You've reestablished the connection without having to say something boring like, hey, how are you?
It lowers the stakes. And that is the absolute secret to all of this flirting advice.
Yeah.
About lowering the stakes.
Which is exactly what the stock photo game does. You see someone posing in the park and you whisper, draw me like one of your French girls.
It's playful. It frames the interaction as a game, not a serious interview.
And we can apply this to DMs too. The plausible deniability rule.
This is crucial for the digital age. Don't just like a story. That's incredibly lazy. But don't slide in with a confession of love either.
That's terrifying.
You want to thread the needle. The example given is responding to a gym selfie. Don't just say, looking hot. Say, I still think I could beat you in an arm wrestle.
I really love the nuance of that. It acknowledges the photo. So you're saying they look fit, but it frames it as a challenge.
And if they don't reply, you were just joking about arm wrestling. You haven't exposed your soul. It protects your ego while opening the door.
So let's zoom out for a second. We've covered a lot of ground today. We've gone from biological primate with Beethoven
To checking our walking speed and avoiding paraphrasing to build deep rapport.
to treating dating as a team sport, using handcuffs to filter out the wrong people, using soft crab jokes to build cheer.
It really highlights that attraction isn't just one thing. It's a symphony, pun intended. It's biology, it's psychology, and it's social signaling all playing at once.
And I want to leave the listener with one final thought from the source pile. It's from the Paley study on magicians.
Oh, the insight hypothesis. I love this one.
So they studied magicians and their audiences, and they found that magicians are actually terrible at predicting what the audience will like.
The magicians think the hardest tricks, the ones that take 10 years of finger dexterity practice, will be the most impressive. But the audience, they don't care about the difficulty. They are often way more blown away by a simple mathematical trick that relies on a cleverly forced card.
The magicians overvalue the complexity because they know how the sausage is made.
And the parallel to dating is painful. We think we need the complex trick. We think we need the perfect body, the highest salary, the wittiest opening line. We think we need to be the 10 years of practice version of ourselves to be lovable.
But the person across from you, they might just be looking for the simple connection.
They just want the rhythm. They want to be heard without being paraphrased. They want someone to laugh about the soft crab with.
We overcomplicate it because we're scared. But usually the simple magic is the strongest.
Exactly.
So here's your homework for this week. Put on some complex piano music, maybe some Liszt or Rachmaninoff, get that heart rate up. Check your posture. Stop paraphrasing people.
And go crack some unhatched eggs.
Thanks for diving in with us.
See you next time.